How is everyone feeling with Cooks?
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, Amber, do you remember Cooks?
Yes, this one.
Yeah, well done. And that's in our blue books, so we know that that's there. We can also find it, I think, in our manuals as well.
Yeah.
So the key things with Cooks are that we cross one ankle over the other, and then what do we need to remember with the arms? Yes, it needs to be the same wrist that crosses. That's right.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you have to remember that we're interlinking the fingers. If we're lying down, it's more comfy to flip up for some people. Some people won't be able to do that. And how long are we holding this for?
Anywhere between 2 to 20 minutes.
That's right. And when do we uncross everything?
And you get that lazy feeling.
Yeah, so there'll be a niggle of some sort. So might be that your fingers start to lose, feeling, or you get an itch, or you get that type of thing. So then what do? Uncross everything.
Feet flat on this.
Yes, fingertips together. And how long do we hold the fingertips together? There'll be a pulsing. There'll be a pulsing, and the pulsing will subside. So wait until that pulsing subsides. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's nice to review it. Okay, so another really important one that I would like to play with today is the ESR. Has anyone had a crack at ESR, the emotional stress release one? No?
Maybe if you call it something different.
It's in our book. It's holding the...
I did that one
You
yesterday.
did? Okay, beautiful. So I'm going to demonstrate it. Vanessa, would you like to? So this one falls in our emotional column. So if you have your workbooks there, you can see it, and it's pretty much, is it number 1 in our emotional column? I think it is.
So I'm still doing Cooks, so we hold it until we feel it pulsing or until the pulsing stops?
Until the pulsing subsides. Because what happens is we're kind of, with the Cooks, we are compressing, and so when we decompress, there will be a pulsing happening, and then that will subside as we go. So our ESR is our emotional stress release, and it's in our blue books. Can anyone tell me what page it's on? Beautiful. So page 4 in our blue books, and this will be under your emotional column. Now, as we go deeper into this work, we will start to get emotions. And so every time we have an emotional correction come up, we'll be able to find the emotion. Now, this doesn't come in until level 3, so you don't have to worry about it till then, but I might show you today an emotional, so you can see where it's going to go eventually and how powerful it can be. But for now, all you need to do is just hold the ESR points. So come up, Vanessa. Have you got something you'd like to focus on?
Oh, which one?
Shoulder.
Yeah, we can go straight to the shoulder.
Just to remind you.
Yes. So what we can do is start with the shoulder,
Yeah.
and then maybe this afternoon we can do some further work on it. But we
Okay.
can see whether just an ESR can help with that. So
Okay.
laying down for me.
Table.
So can you girls step me through what we do to switch to get the body ready for muscle testing?
Switch it on.
Yep. Yep. So what do we do first? What's our very first step that we do for muscle testing?
Brachioradialis.
Yep. So we check if it's clear. So we see if we've got a lock, and then what do we do?
Swoosh to whoosh.
Yep. Push to wish.
And then strengthen the leg.
Yep. And why do we do this?
To see if you're connected and communicating clearly.
To see if the muscles, yep,
Responding.
responding to our stimulus. Yeah. So that's on that first level. Okay. So now we want to check whether the brain and the muscle are connected and communicating right as well. Yeah. Yep. So
Full hair.
pull the hair for me, please. That's our hydration. Yep. And then Vanessa, can I get you to hold these points? Yep. So that's just correlating to our switching. Do you remember that, Amber? Yep. Excellent. And then we have our kidney 27s. Thank you. Now for our what's it called, coccyx, we just do it this way because it's a lot easier when they're lying on the table. Do you remember that one? Yeah. Cool. And central. So we unzip, and it's responding very nicely.
That's weird.
And then we zip back up again. Okay.
Can I just ask, do you
Yes.
find with brand new clients, you have to tell them
meet my pressure every single time.
Yeah, and I probably should have said
Because
that. So,
my
not
dad was
every
okay,
single
he
time.
Because
Yeah.
he knew about it, but my friend, every time I didn't say it, she
Yeah.
kind of just let her arm, like I.
Okay,
wasn't
so
sure.
what I'm going to show you is how I'll introduce muscle testing to someone.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you for joining us on the table. I'm going to just show you what a muscle test looks and feels like. So if you can just meet my pressure, thank you. So that's actually what a lock looks like.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, if there is no stress and if your body's not, giving me some indication, that will be a lock. However, sometimes it will unlock. So, can you please say, my name is Vanessa?
My name is Vanessa.
Okay, so you can feel the lock there. Now will you say, my name is Bob?
My name is Bob.
Can you feel that unlocking?
Oh, that's a good way.
Yep, so you can feel that that's an unlock. So that is an unlock. And what that indicates to me is that your name is Bob and that that's a stress to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we go through the session, I'll be asking various questions or touching certain points, and I'm looking to see if there's a stress to your body. So if it wants to unlock, we just let it go, okay, and that's fine. You'll probably naturally try and hold it there anyway, even though it goes to unlock, but you'll get used to it, and very soon you'll just zone out. Okay, so that's the difference between a lock and an unlock, and as we go through, we'll see different things, but your normal state will just be to meet that pressure. So if you were to explain it in that way, Andrea, then they'll know that the sense is that they just hold their arm there, and that's kind of, where we'll be for the rest of the session kind of thing. But you girls will get a sense for this as we go along, that you do tend to zone out and they will tend to relax into it. After a while, you'll just be in natural kind of state. And that might be up maybe a little bit high there, so we'll just bring that down a little bit there.
So wait, clavicle, we didn't do belly button? We
Yes,
just-
I did upside down.
Upside down.
Hand upside
So
down.
that's coccyx.
Yeah, that's the coccyx. Yeah. She's stealing your pen. Okay, so right, so we made sure that the brain is all the brain's all ready to go. So what I'm going to ask you to do is say, my shoulder moves freely and easily.
My shoulder moves freely and easily.
And there's a bit of stress around that. Okay, so it took a little while to unlock there, so I'd say there's a bit of tension.
There is a lot.
in there. Okay, and which shoulder? Sorry.
Right.
Okay, so can we say my right shoulder moves freely and easily?
My right shoulder moves freely and easily.
Okay, and there's the unlock there, the resistant unlock. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to ask, because I've got Vanessa up for the purposes of ESR, I'm actually just going to check that ESR is okay for us to work with. Okay, so I'm just going to say ESR. I could do emotional, so I could say emotional, and I've got an unlock, and then I can say ESR, and I've got an unlock. Now what that does, if you were in a balanced scenario, I would have said electrical, emotional, and then I've known that I'm going down the emotional column. Okay, so that's where our columns are. We'll run through this later and I'll do a full balance so you'll see that. But we know we're in the emotional column now, and we know that we can go to ESR because it's unlocked. Okay, so if I was to test the other ones in emotional code in the emotional thing at the moment, they probably wouldn't unlock because we're going to work with ESR, and Vanessa's body already knows that because Peter told me.
The
So,
White Witch did it.
yeah, the White Witch did it. So in its purest form, without us finding an emotion, which we're not doing at the moment for this level, but I am going to just demonstrate it so that you can see an effectiveness there. But the emotional stress release is simply holding the frontal eminences. Okay, and we're pulling slightly apart with our fingertips. Okay, and it's a very, very light pressure, isn't it?
Ooh.
It's feather touch almost, okay? And the reason it's feather touch is because we're encouraging the blood flow to come there. So we're looking for a pulsing. So if we're pressing really hard on someone's thing, we're going to stop that pulsing from coming, okay? So it's almost like it's an invitation for that pulse to return there, for that emotional stress to then be able to be released, and for the fight or flight to be the blood flow back to the stomach meridian, because this point is in relation to the stomach meridian, okay, on a bigger level. But on face value, it's just simply holding these points really lightly until we feel a pulse, and then for another 30 seconds. Now, before I do this for reals, I'm going to have a quick look at the emotion, which is what is coming. It's not what you're expected to do just yet, but it'll add a little bit of context for us. So, to look for the emotion, I'm just going to start with I go with the headings. So what you'll find with kinesiology, we always start at the top and we chunk down, okay? So we're starting at the very top, which is fire, earth, metal, water, ooh, and we've got an unlock on water. So now we go to more of the details, which is bladder, and then we've got kidney. Okay, and so now I'm going to go down the list of emotions in kidney. Okay, funnily enough, it's a beautiful blue colour like you're wearing today.
Are you recording? So how do you know this?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, it's going. Sorry, how do I know that?
Is it written up there?
Yes.
Kidney emotions. Or
Yep. So that says bladder and that says kidney.
Oh, I see.
Okay, and remember I was going around with the bigger headings there. Yep. Now, I really hope I'm not confusing you with this. I just want to I want to show you where it goes. This is not what you're expected to do at this level yet. Okay, it's purest form that's simply just holding those ESR. Okay, so I'm just going to check which one it is so that we're getting as much as we can out of this. Indecisive. Okay, and it's present time. In time, I'll show you what questions we're asking here, but I'm just discovering this for Vanessa right now. And it's in a situation. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so the questions I'm asking there is past, so whether it's come from the past, whether it's present time, whether it's future, whether it's within self, from another, so taking that on from another towards another, so being indecisive towards someone else, or in a situation, so a particular situation. Does that make
Yes,
sense
it
to
makes
you?
perfect sense.
Okay, and how long has the shoulder been going on for?
Oh, 2 months.
Okay, and has this situation been lingering that long as well?
Just a little over.
Okay, so there you go. So the situation's been happening for a little over 2 months, but the indecisiveness has been happening for 2 months?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So there you go. Now, what I'm going to tell you about this correction is, I touched on it before, we're encouraging blood flow back to that frontal lobe, which restores rational thinking. So this is a massive one for fight or flight, okay? And it's also restoring blood flow to our stomach, which means the blood's coming back from our extremities in our fight or flight and coming back to that stomach, so we can digest food again and we can stop being in that fight or flight, okay? This is such a powerful correction that I know another whole modality that goes in, discovers everything and simply uses this to shift it. That's it. Just holds these points and shifts everything that comes up.
Is it craniosacral?
No, it's called, I'll share it with you because it's available free. It's called Quantum K. And I actually use the scan sheets in my own private practice. It's in NLK with Paige already, the manuals and everything in there. But this is his thing. So what I do is I gather all the information and I make sure that ESR always comes up so that I hold that point of cover off and then I recheck it at the end to make sure it has cleared whatever comes up for it.
So you could nearly do that treatment for everyone because everything's going to be an
It
emotional.
always comes up in mine.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's one of my favourites. This or there's other variations. So it'll be either this one in its purest form or it'll come up as a variation in some of the others that we get down the track.
So you're holding that for a minute until you feel pulsing?
I hold it until I feel pulsing, which I can, and then another 30 seconds afterwards, which I think we're pretty much right there. And sometimes you'll see a shift in a person, so it'll be breath, or if you're in tune with energetic kind of shifts, then you'll start to feel that in the person.
I actually felt butterflies in my stomach at the beginning.
Yep, okay, so
That's
that's that
fight or
blood
flight.
flow coming back and that
okay.
fight or flight, yeah. Has it calmed now?
It
Yeah,
has.
beautiful, okay.
Is that when Paige put her fingers on your head, you felt it?
Yes.
Yeah. That's,
Just a few seconds after, I thought, ooh,
yeah, okay.
I wasn't feeling very well.
Oh,
Then
yeah,
it passed.
beautiful. Okay,
Wow.
so then we come back, and what would we do to make sure that that's okay now? Yep, so if I just said ESR again, and now that's locking. And I'll check because we had that emotion, so I'm just going to check indecisive. Now, can you make a decision? Or at least now you know that that's playing up in relation to making a decision.
Yes.
That maybe that can help in terms of how you move forward
Yes, I can.
around that.
And do you mind
Okay.
if we touch base on, if we ask the body in two different ways, we look for a different response? So
Okay.
a direct
Yes.
question.
Yeah. So you'll notice that I said ESR. I didn't say is it ESR. So it's always a statement. When we're going down our columns, it's always just emotional, electrical. So that's a statement. It's not is it emotional, is it electrical. Okay. So it's just electrical, emotional. So just the words. And then as you go down the column, same thing. ESR, blah 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 blah. Yeah. Questions really only need to come into it when you need to answer the body question.
I was saying because you said, can you make a decision?
Oh, I wasn't muscle testing her about that though.
Just checking.
Yeah. So that was just a question to
Okay.
her. Can you make a decision around this? Because, the indecisiveness is actually, now that you have the awareness that indecisiveness is causing the issue, can you make a decision? Yeah.
But if you were to ask the body a direct question like that, how does it change?
Yep, so I would say, if I was to ask your body, can you make a decision around this? I'm getting a yes from her body because it's a lock.
Okay.
Yep, but if it was to unlock, that would be a no.
Okay.
And then you'd have to do a little bit more, or what would you do?
Well, it would depend because I would more so pose that question to you as a self-responsibility thing. It's not about her body making a decision, it's about you consciously making a decision.
It is.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, this is probably out of context, but I will try and demonstrate later in the day when, at different times where you could, a question's appropriate. And you'll know, it'll come to that where, really, anything can be put in as a question, but to keep things simple, statements are easier until we get a little bit more advanced and you get the concept of the difference between a question and a statement.
So it'll literally be like water, food, as in
That's right.
everybody's needing.
Yes.
1 week, 2 weeks, 7
That's
days,
right.
3 days.
Exactly. Rather than saying, is it this many? And it's okay to ask the questions as long as you have in your head you're asking the question and that you're looking for a different response. So it takes a little while for that to drop in. It will. But right now, there's so many other things to learn that it's just easy to keep it simple and make sure you're just making those statements rather than the questions. Yeah. Good questions. Awesome, thank you. Now, it might need a little bit more work later, so I continue to work on that as your balance maybe later in the day.